Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick and mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I am passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you were meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go.
And that's actually where I wanted to kind of move into next, is from the growth and goal setting, which I'm sure as two entrepreneurs sitting here, and actually four of us, more, is that we can all appreciate that goal setting is a big part of our entrepreneurial journey and working towards that growth. And you mentioned about constantly setting goals, seeing the tangible results from achieving those goals, which is something that I personally really love as well. Do you have a specific process, or back to the rituals, when it comes to setting goals?
So this is going to sound bad.
I'm here for it.
Some of it, I've shifted my thought on this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Care to elaborate?
Yeah. Here's the challenge. I actually think goals. This is Siri. Is this like Siri's getting involved in our conversation?
Should we pull up a mic for Siri?
I'm telling you. How do I put this on airplane mode? This watch has a mind of its own. Okay. Sorry. This is live, right?
It's okay. I love it. Normally we have dogs barking because we have three dogs at home and we record at home. So it's actually very peaceful. There's less paws on the ground, no dogs, no collars.
But then
there's
Siri. Mel and his banter with his watch that decides they want to have a conversation too. It happens when I'm on the stage. I don't know how to stop it. But it's totally a different tangent. Sorry. Okay. There you go. I think that we have gotten so used to setting goals, but we haven't spent the time to really figure out how to get the goals. And the problem is that goals are fluffy stuff. They're soft because of how we've used them. Think about it. We set goals. Now, I'll set goals, okay? I do it every year. At the end of the year, just like everyone else, I start to look and review the year. What did I do? What do I want to do? But I set goals in all the domains of our life because we're painting a vision. But I think we need to want less and will more, and is what I say. So what I mean by that is this. We can say I want a better relationship with my kids, with my spouse. I want to lose weight. I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to learn a new language. And we have all these wants, like we were when we were a child. I want to be this. I want to be that. And the challenge is that there's so many wants. There's no way we're going to get it. And then when we start to fall off the wagon on one of them, we say, I'll look at it next quarter. It's soft. I'll look at it next year. And it gets back on the list. What we should be doing, instead of setting goals, is setting declarations.
Ooh, I
the
love
will.
that.
Because now people don't like that, because if I go out there and say, I will be financially free by this age, or I will be a better dad, I will be a better spouse, that aligns some things in life that require you to do it, which means that you're committed. And some people don't want to make that commitment. But I think that we are better served at a point where we say, let's go through the goals, and let's now I'll do the goals, and then I'll take the top 3 to 5 that I really want to make happen, and I say, these are my declarations. These are the wills. I will do that. And I make them declarations because now I must. And now I move from there. Because I saw so many times, including myself, where I would set goals and say, And part of this came out of the cancer journey because I had to either fight it with everything I had. There was just no straddling the line. So I had to declare it. I had to declare the outcome and say, this is the outcome I want. And it came about because, the cancer, I was diagnosed in June of 2019, went through 2 surgeries, July and August, went through a bunch of treatments. In December, they said everything's cool, okay? April, I go in for another test. Cancer's back. So I was spiraling and had a friend say, do you know what the outcome is? I said, I know what I want the outcome to be. And he says, they should be one and the same. And I said, okay, yeah, I know the outcome. I want to beat this. I'm going to beat this. He says, all right. And this is like, he says, then let me ask you, what do you need to do today to get closer to that outcome? And then ask yourself, what do you need to do tomorrow? One step at a time. And allow it to unfold each day. And as I started to think about it, at that moment I was dealing with cancer. But how is that any different than life? We set a goal. I want to build a business. I want to do this. I want to be on a stage. I want to write a movie, a screenplay. And we take one step at a time in life. We get feedback and we have to adjust until we get to that goal. But if the goal is just a goal and not a declaration, it's easy to say, didn't happen.
Moving on to the next month or the following year. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And then that's a exceptional reframe about the declaration. And I feel like there was a real movement about I am, more on like the manifestations and affirmation cards, the I am statements, which I think there's still absolutely still space for that. But I think it is really powerful to make that declaration. Matt and I do that a lot. We actually, just before this, I had the pleasure of interviewing Lori Harder and love that she and Chris brought their Power 9 into our life.
Yeah.
That we now do it every day. And we actually write it down because we have a lot of fun reflecting back, especially on the manifestations. But I also think, writing things down, like a manifestation, you need to talk about it as well.
Without a doubt.
You can't just write it and hope that the universe goes and works its magic. But you also have to go and do the work. That, we like to set monthly revenue goals. Honestly, on the heels of last year in that room in Arizona at the round table with our really big goal that was far away. And we knew that we were going to have to get to work and make some changes to take action and hit that goal. And now it's become a monthly practice for us. Bit of a declaration that will say the number that is scary, but also very aware that it is going to take work to get there. And that will be a big conversation that we'll have over coffee. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to get here?
But see, that's the piece that's missing with most, is that, great, that's the outcome we want. So what's the next step? What do we need to do? Who do we need to be? How do we need to show up to make it a reality? Versus just saying it's a cool goal, but we're not willing to do the things to make it a reality.
It's unfortunate to see that. I feel like there is a bit of that going on in this day and age, that I'm sure the world of social media and seeing these big, beautiful, shiny things and green grass over there, that people will hop over there, but that sometimes they are afraid of rolling their sleeves up and doing the dirty, hard work, that sometimes you just got to grind and hustle.
Exactly.
Like a hustle culture, I feel like, has come and gone, but if you want something, you need to work hard to get after it.
Yeah.
And go achieve it. Now, when you achieve those goals and declarations, are you someone who likes to celebrate that?
I don't set, so when I set a declaration and a goal, I will always set how it's going to be celebrated.
Ooh, I love that.
And I will always set a date for the first step. So I need to get in motion. And then I need to, because here's the thing, whether it's, I talk about this in the money stuff too. You're not going to live a rich life through deprivation, and so why do people fall off diets? Because they're horrible. They don't feel good. And so if we don't enjoy the path to the destination, we won't enjoy the destination. And so I look at it and say, every success, even if it's a minor celebration, needs to be celebrated. It needs, and you define what that reward is beforehand. Whether it's with your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your family, yourself, whatever it is, because there's a moment where you stop. In order to do that, you have to stop. Acknowledge that you did something, that you accomplished it, to be grateful, to be appreciative. And I think that leads to contentment. Otherwise, what you're doing is, all right, on to the next thing, on the next thing, on the next thing, and you're running. And this is something that happened to me where I had a bike accident. People are going to listen to this cancer bike accident. This guy is just don't stay close to Mel.
No.
But I had a grade 4 concussion. I was having difficulty speaking. I was still in a neck brace. I was out of the hospital for 3 days. A dear friend came over to me and said, I'm taking you out to lunch. And so we go to a sandwich shop, and he looks at me and he says, how much is enough? I go, what do you mean? He says, how much is enough? I said, dude, man, I can barely speak. I got a neck brace on, and you're asking me philosophical questions? He says, no, seriously. He says, you were on a bike. You were angry. You were distracted. You're running a race, but you don't know where your finish line is. You don't even know what it looks like. It could be miles behind you. It could be miles ahead of you, but you'll never know it. So what does that mean? He says, that means that you're going to be on that treadmill and continue to run, continue to run, continue to run until you crash again. And one day, you won't be able to get up. He said, you got to know what your finish line is. Not that it has to stay there, but at least you have an inkling of what it looks like. And sometimes we just don't. And so now it's like, know your finish line.
What is the most recent way that you celebrated a goal? The most recent celebration? Paint a picture for me.
Well, it hasn't celebrated yet, but we are going to celebrate.
Ooh, and what is the celebration going to look like?
So my wife and I we love to travel.
Okay.
We just booked a trip to Budapest and Vienna.
Ooh, amazing.
All right. So that's not the celebration, though.
Okay. Love it. I'm here for the next part. Tell me more.
So we're going to Budapest, and I said, all right. Now, the big thing that's happened this year is the release of my book. Well, then this trip to Italy came up.
Oh, yes, that trip.
Yes. And I go, and I'm looking at it. It's 30 days after we get back from Budapest and Vienna. And I'm just going, and I finally looked at her and I said, it's a big year. The book's coming out. I crossed 4 years clear on the cancer. I said, we're doing 2 big vacations this year. So we booked Italy. We're going to Italy.
It's amazing. I hope that has inspired Mataruda in the corner, because we've had a lot of conversations about this. And he's a big fan of yours. So Mel, thank you. This is boding really well for our conversation at home tonight. And he loves Italy. So I'm sweating. I'm excited. This is going to be great. All right.
And now we'll be there.
Yeah. Perfect. This is great.
Worked out perfectly, just like you planned.
Yes, thank you. Yes, my work here is done. Actually, no, it's not, because I do want to talk about this book. This is a big year, and well, I'm a big fan of your book, so I'm really excited to dive into this. And what inspired building your money machine?
Oh, God. So there was 2 big inspirations for it, and the first was the cancer. So after the cancer came back, like I said, I was struggling with it all, and I was walking on the beach talking to a dear friend, and he said, you've been searching for why you got the cancer. I said, yeah. I said, I'm not a drinker. I'm not a smoker. Yeah, I had a sweet tooth, but I did all the things right. I was trying to figure out, did I piss someone off? Did I wrong someone? And I couldn't find it. And he said, well, you're looking for something you did that might have caused the cancer. And I said, yeah. And he says, well, what if it wasn't something you did, but something you were meant to do? What's the message there? Ooh. And now the cancer was 2019 and 2020. I fought the cancer. I had to fight it physically, mentally, psychologically, medically, every place, but I didn't have to fight it financially. I had a choice of doctors. I literally shut everything down and still lived. We still had the money coming in from what I call the money machine that allowed us to continue to do the things that we wanted to do. And then the pandemic hit, and I watched people struggle. And that's when I started to say, well, maybe that's the message. That's the thing that then allows me to psychologically heal from the cancer, to find value in it, to make it valuable in my life, to say this actually was a positive thing, because now it got me out there to start speaking and talking about it and helping people to see that actually finding financial freedom is simple. It may not be easy, but difficult doesn't mean impossible. If we just have the right recipe to follow it, and I've proven the path, not just with me, with my clients, my son, and all that stuff. But I was speaking at, and it might have been the one you were at in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the Q&A.
You did, yep.
And I came off the stage of that Q&A, and I was sitting backstage with Brendan. And he says, you seem like preoccupied. I said, there's a lot of pain in the audience. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of fear around their money. And he said, yes, and I go, I want to help, but I can't give them access because I don't have that bandwidth, nor am I trying to build a book of business or any of that stuff. He says, what's the answer? And I said, I got to write the book. And the book was born out of that keynote. 75 days later, I had the manuscript.
Oh, I have goosebumps. I'm so excited I got to be a part of that.
You were there when I made the decision.
Yes, because I have pictures from what you shared on screen. I'm an avid note taker, so I might have part of the manuscript in my notebook at home. Wow, what a gift! And I remember going home because I attended that event with my mom, and I remember going home and probably even before I got home, texting Matt and telling him that Mel was spectacular. Like his keynote was so powerful and so tangible for their takeaway and taking action steps. And while this by no means is a financial literacy podcast, because I would not be a great leader for that, but it's in entrepreneurship. And we have had a lot of fun changing our financial journey with investing in companies and fearless leaders and these spectacular founders. And I have found myself really enjoying money conversations, which was not the way. I mean, my dad probably wished I discovered this many years prior, but it took me a while and took me my own path to discover this, that I really get excited talking about our financial journey and our dreams and plans. And on that note, I do say how I wish that there was more of this conversation in schools about filing your taxes and building a budget versus the Pythagorean theorem. And the irony is I was writing these notes preparing for today, and I looked at Matt, I'm like, how do you even spell Pythagorean theorem? I don't even remember. It's so unfortunate. But I would love to ask you, what are 3 tips that you would share for a young or adult entrepreneur looking to help set themselves up for financial success?
So,
buy your book.
Yeah, buy my book.
Yeah, period.
Buy my book, read my book, do my book.
Yeah,
3
and with
tips.
a highlighter. With a highlighter.
No, seriously. First off is to realize that I believe financial freedom is a birthright. We just got to understand and claim it. We need the recipe. We need the prescription. The financial services industry wants to keep it complicated. It isn't complicated. It's simple. Okay? And so you can't win the wealth game from the stands or the sideline. You have to be on the field. Your ability to build wealth is more about your behaviors than it has ever been about your money. Okay? Statistics show it. There's a study of 10,000 millionaires. 79% of them, almost 8 out of 10, first generation. That means that they didn't win it, they didn't inherit it, it wasn't gifted to them. They created it in their lifetime. 8 out of 10, pretty good odds for us. Okay,
great.
31% of them, never made much more than $100,000 a year. So it's not the income, it's the behaviors. It's what they do. So if we just give you the behaviors, if we just give you the habits, if we just give you that process and you duplicate it, you'll get the same results because it's a math equation. So that's number one. Number two is you don't have time. Time's your greatest lever for wealth building. So you might feel like you're young and you got plenty of time. Here's the challenge. I have a kid, 16-and-a-half-year-old kid that joined one of my programs. 7 months ago or so, he's on one of our calls and he says, got a job, what do I do? I said, open up a Roth IRA. And he said, great. 3 weeks ago, we're on a call. And he says, I funded my Roth IRA. What do I do now? I don't know how to invest it. I said, great. How old are you now? He says, 18. So this is 18-year-old kid. And I said, how much did you put in? I thought, he's 18. What could he do? $500? Maybe $1,000? He said, I fully funded 2023. And I already funded 2024. I go, hold on a second. You put $6,500 in for 23? And he said, yeah. I said, and $7,000 for 24? He said, yeah. At 18? He says, yeah, well, I'm living at home, so I don't have any expenses. I said, great. I said, hold on a second. Let me do some math. Did you know that at 18 years old, every dollar you put away, if I just put it in an index fund, S&P index fund, at 8%, by the time you're ready to retire, it will multiply 107 times. Wow. I said, you're already a millionaire. You'll be at $1.2, $1.3 million if you did nothing more, but we are going to do more. The only thing we got to avoid is stupid, and you'll be fine. The power of time is huge. We think about our retirement as retirement, and when we do that, we put it off. If we think about it as peace of mind, we want that today. And so I look at it and say, if it's a behavior and time matters, then it's like going to the gym. You go to the gym and you start with the little weights. Nothing wrong with chrome weights, but you start with the little weights to exercise the muscle. Wealth creation is a muscle. So even if you said to me, I'm just starting out and all I can put away is $5, then you start with $5 because you're on the field now. And you're doing some work, and now you're developing the habits. That 5 turns to 10, turns to 100, turns to 1,000. And now all of a sudden, things happen. The subtitle of the new book is Getting Your Money to Work Harder for You Than You Did for It. Watch what happens. You put $10,000 away a year. The hardest threshold for you to cross is your first $100,000 of wealth. You got to get past that. And why is it the hardest? Because skills, knowledge, habits, all that stuff isn't developed yet. So that's the hardest. But at $10,000 a year, at 8%, it'll take you 7.6 years to reach the first 100. And you do that for a number of years. It'll take you 20.6 years to hit $500,000. Okay, so 20 years down the road, you hit $500,000 by putting $10,000 a year away. But you want $1 million. So you need another $500,000. Do you know that it only takes 7.5 years to double that and hit the $1 million? Because now all of a sudden the money's working harder for you than you did for it. So literally what happens is that you make $500,000 in less time than it took you to make your first 100. You got to get in the game.
Oof. I love that so much, and I'm so excited to dive into this book. And I think it's only fair that we share this with the people, and they can get out their highlighters. I like the color pink, but hey, everyone can make their own choice. Maybe it's green, blue. And I think it would be really cool for us to give away some books, but there'll be a catch for everybody.
Cool.
They need to screenshot this episode wherever they listen to it, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Screenshot it, share it on social, tag Mel, tag Inspire and Move, and we'd love to send you a book. And we'll dialogue in the DMs to find out obviously where you live and send you a book, and you can dog ear it and highlight it and shout it out and make your money work for you.
Absolutely. I just think that you deserve a life of choice. You deserve a life of that. I want people to be able to look at it and say, I get to live this life. I get to live my life. Mm-hmm. Cancer and all, I get to live it. I don't have to live it. I choose to live it. And with it comes options. With it comes the opportunity to do things at a bigger level. And the book, as much as it's about money, it's about life. It's story driven. It's got, you saw them on the screen. It's got my frameworks and stuff to simplify it. And I try to make it accessible to all. It's not a typical money book, but it's a money book that drives meaning, that drives life, and drives legacy in a big way. So, and there's a whole host of bonuses to help you put it into your life when you get the book.
Oh, I can't wait. And I'm so excited for it to be out and for people to enjoy reading it and learning from it.
Yeah.
Mel, thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful to have had you. I feel like this time went really, really fast, and I wish we had more. But for everyone listening, where can they find you? Where can they connect with you?
So the best place to connect with me is Instagram, Mel Abraham 9, the number 9. Not sure who the 8 are before me. And
Lucky
also,
number 9.
Yeah. And also the book at yourmoneymachinebook.com.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this book out in the world and hang out in Italy. I'm really pumped to hang out with
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be great.
I mean, I don't worry. I'll let Chris know that you're coming.
Yeah, perfect. And Matt too. So guys, thank you so much for listening and being here. And please go check out Mel. Give him a follow. Get his book. And get that highlighter ready, because there will be undoubtedly a lot of incredible value. So thank you again so much, Mel. This was such a joy and an honor. And to the Inspiring Move community, thank you so much for listening and being here. And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you took 30 seconds and shared this on social media, send it to a friend, or leave a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I am so grateful to have you part of mine.